The reason people need to be choosy about their firewood is it's important for proper operation of their fireplace or wood stove that the wood be the proper moisture content. The proper moisture content of wood is between 15 and 25% to burn properly. When you freshly cut wood, it's somewhere between 40 and 50% moisture content or even more. If you burn wood that's that wet, what's going to happen is the fire is going to be cooler. Now, this is why that's the case. The first step of the combustion process is drying. So the first step is you have to dry that moisture off. So any BTUs that are utilized to dry that wood are not BTUs you're going to have available for heating. Those BTUs are being utilized to dry the wood. They're drawing that moisture up the flue. Consequently, you have a cooler fire. When you have a cooler fire, some bad things happen. One thing that we want to have happen is the products of combustion, smoke in the case of wood, and the other unburned particulates, we want to get them up and out of the chimney as quickly as we can. Part of that is we want those flue gases to be as hot as we can keep them for as long as we can keep them there. Ideally, those flue gases exit the chimney without ever condensing. If you have cooler smoke like you do if the wood's wet, what happens is you have more creosote flow. That's basically unburned wood that you're depositing in your flue. Highly flammable, could potentially have a chimney fire, which is a bad thing. We want to have the proper moisture content on our wood so we have a good hot fire and get those products of combustion up and out of the flue as fast as we can. Now, as far as storage of wood, you want to store your wood in an area that's not subject to moisture, snow, rain, that kind of thing. Ideally, it's a roof structure that's open on the side so air can flow through. That's not always possible. If that's not possible, you want to get your wood up off the ground, whether it's in a shed or out in the open. The reason is it prevents rot and also keeps insects and vermin out of there. So you want to keep your wood up off the ground. If it's not in a wood shed, you want it outside, covered, particularly when you've got precipitation coming. You don't want to keep it covered 100% of the time, or what you do then is you trap that moisture inside. So you want the air to flow through and keep that wood drying on a constant process. How do you know wood's dry? Well, the easiest way is to take a moisture meter. And when you test wood, you want to split it. So you want to get the inside. The outside is always going to be a lot drier. So you want to split the wood before you take a moisture test. You can pick up those moisture testers a lot of different places, and they're pretty inexpensive. Something I didn't mention is when you bring wood home, it's important that it's split, because split wood will dry properly. If you just leave it in chunks, it doesn't necessarily dry properly. So it's ideal if the wood can be split before it's stacked. What you're doing is exposing more surface area to air movement, so it will dry more quickly. One great source of information for wood sheds, wood storage, is the EPA has a website. If you go to epa.gov/burnwise, there's a whole section in there on burning wood, how to store your wood, how to cut your wood, things like that. Now, a fallacy that's out there with a lot of folks is they say you should never burn softwood like pine, that kind of thing. That's not necessarily true. Wood has the same number of BTUs per pound, whether it's pine or whether it's oak. The difference is the softwood is lighter, so it takes a bigger chunk of wood to give the same number of BTUs as you get with a hardwood. So it's important that you differentiate that. There's nothing wrong with burning pine, and something that you can really do to help out in your day-to-day burning habits is earlier in the season when you don't need that much heat, either don't put as much wood in there or use a softwood that's going to burn up more quickly so you have a more even heat transfer. Unfortunately, if you fill that wood stove up when it's warm, the first thing you're going to do is start cutting the air off and making a lot more creosote. A lot of information is available on wood burning from www.csi.org. If you go to the homeowner tab, there's a lot of information on wood there.